McFarland's followers, welcome to McFarland's Corner. I'm Mike McFarland. Today, I'm going to actually do a video finally by request. Several times I put it out there to send me a topic or an idea, and I really don't think I've responded too much or as well as I should have. So today, Mr. David S., subscriber, follower, thank you, sir. He asked for me to talk about when and why I choose jig colors. Okay? Jig colors. I want to talk colors in general. Okay, so I'm going to keep this simple, David. And that's my favorite thing in this category of discussion. Colors. KISS. Keep it super simple. Okay, KISS. Keep it super simple. The first thing I'm going to share with you is that a year or two back, there was a study, a questionnaire, and they asked the top 100 elites, and these were the today's MLF, were before they became MLF. So they asked those top elite anglers, those lifetime career men, if they could only choose two colors to fish the season, what would those colors be? You can Google search this. You'll find that over 80% of those anglers chose black and blue and plain green pumpkin. Okay? That's unique. Keep it super simple. Okay? Green pumpkin covers everything, man. It just does. It just covers all the colors of you can take a marker pen if you need to and change it. Black and blue is one of the number one sought after colors for dirty water. For jigs, just something about it, black and blue. Okay, so real quick, David, those are my two favorite colors. I'm going to stay with commodity color. Does that mean I don't use other colors? No, there is a time and a place for some other colors. And we're going to take you there. The most important thing to think about colors is match the hatch. That means whatever the fish is eating, a shad, a brim, a crawfish, okay? Those are the three most basics, keeping it super simple. They eat snakes and birds and insects and hellgrammites and all kinds of other things, other fish. They eat baby carp. They eat baby catfish, okay? But keeping it super simple, generally, the bass feed on shad, brim, and crawfish, okay? So, here's the deal. Find yourself in the shad patterns, a light version that you like and a dark version that you like, okay? If you're in brim patterns, for example, me, I've got a relatively bright, lots of blue, lots of orange. This is imitating our spring brim that's getting ready to spawn. And then I've got maybe a little lighter, which would be the peanut butter and jelly. That's pumpkin seed. It looks darker probably in this video than it really is, but it's even lighter. Lighter summer version maybe. Okay? Or even Mexican heather, which is again a little lighter on the brim color. More of a summer pattern. So I got two brim colors, a light version and a dark version. Okay? Or maybe my dark version is just a green pumpkin. But again, I'm trying to keep it simple. So I have a light version shad color. I have a dark version shad color. I have a light version brim, a dark version brim, a light version crawfish, and a dark version. That's on the keep it simple. Okay? More important is to match the hatch. So throughout the year, shad spawn at a specific time, April, May. Brim spawn, crawfish come out of the molt, come out of the winter, like out of hibernation, like bears. They come out of the mud. So knowing that when the crawfish first come out of the mud, they're really dark and black and brown and ugly. Well, no wonder that black and blue works so well in the winter and early months. It's a lot more like the color of the crayfish coming out of the water. So if I'm throwing, for example, jigs on shad spawns, I generally don't throw football jigs or the traditional type of jigs, but I'll throw a swim jig, It's still a jig. And I'm going to throw it in the shad patterns. Maybe have myself a light version. Maybe have a sexy shad version, a chartreuse and white version. And that's it. Okay? Maybe if I see a dead shad in the water, that helps me key in a little bit more on matching the hatch and the exact color. That sometimes can be difficult. Example, you're fishing crawfish. Many times a pro will go to a lake and pre-fish and actually get out of the boat and turn rocks to catch a live crawfish. They want to see the coloration. Both time of year, water temperatures change this. There are like 140 species of crawfish. So again, I don't want you to go out there and buy all kinds of jigs. It's crazy. We can put too much in our tackle box. And once we have too much, like I got a lot out here. You can't see it, but I got a lot. It gets, what do I want to start with? And then once I pick one, I may not have as much confidence in that because I'm thinking and seeing all these others. And if I don't have confidence in something, that's a secret. Confidence is probably more important than even the actual color choice. Okay? So I've seen this a long time where the fish are located on a main lake point and a ledge, and you watch 2 or 3 different guides catch them in different ways with different baits and different colors. Remember, the fish are only caught for 2 reasons. Number one, they actually were eating. They were in a feeding session. You caught them on a flat, and they were chasing food, and they were feeding. It was easy. You caught a lot in that 20 minutes or that half an hour. And you caught them on multitudes of different things because they were eating. They don't have a McDonald's. They can't order a cheeseburger with no tomatoes. They can't order a shad missing a left fin or a crawfish that's blue instead of black. Okay? When they're eating, they can eat a lot of things. They can eat anything. When they're fired up, you ever hear pros say, man, I just got to turn them on. I found the school, but I got to fire them up because then they'll eat. All right. 80% of the time, they attack not to eat, but to kill. Territory. So you're challenging territory more than anything. That's my best description. So let's go through a few things that would influence why I would choose a color. Okay? Shad spawn. I pull up on a main lake point and there's shad spawning everywhere. Well, I'm probably going to throw a little swim jig in shad colors through it. And then I'm going to pick up a JC Spicy Craw, which is just a simple green pumpkin, a little bit of orange, a little bit of brown, a little bit of black. Okay? I think it might appear more like a red, but there's 3 colors in there: orange, a brown, and green pumpkin. Okay? Why did I throw that on a shad spawn? Well, because under all that shad that's getting hit by the bass, injured pieces fall to the bottom. And potentially the crayfish are feeding in that same little area. The shad are there eating plankton. So are the crayfish eating plankton and bits and pieces of shad that are potentially, maybe, falling to the bottom. One of the best secrets that I used to do is when I would see stripers boil the surface on the West Coast. I knew that rain, shad rain, was falling to the bottom from all those thousands of stripers attacking the shad. And when that shad rain would hit the bottom, it'd liven up the bottom. The crawfish would come alive and come out feeding. Well, guess what? Big bass would come raid those crawfish underneath those schooling stripers. Big heavy jig, get it to the bottom, catch a big bass. Throw a top water on top with all the shad and the stripers, catch stripers and never catch a bass. Amazing. So that's kind of a scenario that I would give you. It's a shad spawn. How about a brim spawn? So the first thing is when the bass are spawning, the brim give them a hard time. The brim come in and try and raid the eggs, and they really give the bass a hard time while the bass are spawning. And you'll see the bass if you watch them chase the brim away. That's a great time to have a brim jig color during the spawn. Okay, the bass doesn't like him, doesn't want him on. How about after the spawn? Well, after the spawn, the bass is done spawning, but the brim get their turn to spawn. We have this thing called brim revenge, or bass revenge. The bass gets to go back now, and he doesn't have to pester the little brim in the nest like the brim pesters the big bass. The big bass can raid the nest and eat the doggone brim. Okay? So remember, what you're fishing for is really critical. If you're fishing for crawfish, have yourself a couple cool crawfish colors, a light version and a dark version. Okay? Browns and blacks are super hard to beat. Anything green pumpkin, and you're doing just fine. Water clarity. Water clarity can have a huge influence on what color I actually choose. Again, if it's really, really clear, crystal clear water, like Lake Mead, then I may be a lot more natural color, just a simple green pumpkin. Okay, the more natural and iridescent. If I'm in the dirty creek water of Coffee Creek here and it's brown, you can darn bet I'm going to be dark and solid colors. Okay, so water clarity is really going to determine some color choice, whether I'm going to be light and iridescent like or solid and hard like. Okay. Same thing with water temperatures. Water temperatures will determine colors, colder water versus warmer water, and even depths. If I'm fishing really shallow versus really deep, I may go more darker, more black when I fish real deep because it's a solid color. May also add contrast when I get deep. It's one of the things that I like in big fish is I'm going to have a simple green pumpkin skirt, but I'm going to have a really contrasting trailer. It doesn't always have to be fluid and so natural. Sometimes the most crazy contrasted color, obtuse, can get the bigger bite. I don't know why that is. Okay. Remember, there's just a couple things. I talked about why bass eat. The reaction strike or whether they're actually eating. Keep it really simple for yourself so that you don't fill up a tackle box with too many colors. Learn some basics, get some confidence. Once you have some confidence in a few colors, you'll realize that you'll stick with those colors. Whether you're throwing a rattling jig, okay, in shallow water, pitching it around creek swings, in the wood, in the stumps, or you're in a shell bed, throwing a football jig in the middle of summer, you'll realize that you'll just have 2 or 3 colors. And now I'll share those with you. A black and blue I'm always going to have. It's a commodity. A green pumpkin, simple, straight green pumpkin. This one has just a little bit of purple in it. Is commodity. From there, I only have a few colors that I choose for Lake Fork. And here they are. JC Spicy Crawl. I also choose Natural Crawl. And Pake's Perch. Okay? Pake's Perch, PB&J. Okay? That's my brim colors. Pake's Perch, PB&J. JC Crawl, Natural Crawl, and black and blue are my crawfish colors. Okay? The green pumpkin imitates anything and everything. They don't know 100% what that is. If I'm swimming it, it can be a brim. If it's on the bottom, who knows? It's just, green pumpkin is a lot of things. A lot of colors. Okay? This keeps it simple for me. 4, 5 colors. Unless I'm fishing shad, I don't change anything else. I don't have 100 different versions. I don't have 15 varieties of the same family color, but just a little different on each one. I'm not worried a lot of times about the head color. So a lot of times, man, I found some of my best jigs are completely worn down to just lead anyways. They don't have to even be painted, is what it's telling me. My best jig that we've been crushing them on has no paint left from dragging it through the shell beds. They're still eating it. Why do I need a brand new one? Why do I need a perfectly clean head? Okay. Now we're kind of going into another category, which to me is kind of like the lion and the gazelle. The lion is always going to chase the more injured gazelle, the more opportunistic gazelle. It's the same thing here. A bass is a lion. He's going to chase that bait for a lot of reasons. Maybe it's just a little more erratic than the other. Maybe amongst thousands and thousands of shad, if you exactly match the hatch, it can't see it. This is what I'm going to end you with. So that's where that contrast comes in. You have one that half of it matches the shad, and the back half is a blue or some crazy color, okay, that just doesn't fit the equation. Guess what it does? It stands out, a needle in a haystack, and the bass can hone in and attack it. All right. So, David, I hope I didn't just make you go crazy with even more decisions on colors. But remember, keep it super simple. Bass eat shad, bass eat brim, and bass eat crawfish. If you'll just find yourself a couple versions, light, mediums, darks, let's say, of each variety, all right, you've simplified everything that you need, all right? I'm going to add a little something to this that I thought would be cool for y'all. Some things that are a little more important than even color. I'm going to add to your question, David, and we're going to talk about weights, okay? Because that can even be more important, whether I'm going to throw a 1/4 ounce, a half ounce, or 3/4 ounce. All right, let's talk about why I would do this. All right, weights. So mainly the fall rate, okay? Sometimes I may want that bait to fall so fast they have to go look and see what was that. There's other times that I want it to fall super slow. For some reason, it gives them more time to watch it fall, and triggers that reaction to go see what was that or eat it on the fall. So potentially the difference between a 1/4 ounce jig falling through some deep trees and a 3/4 ounce jig is a big difference. The 3/4 ounce is going to clunk, bang, go much faster, knock junk and debris off the limbs. That might be good in a specific time. Okay? Those are the things that are kind of secrets. You got to try. You got to test them out. Those are more important than colors. Truly, they are. Number one, is the fish present? The fish has to be present. Location, location, location. If they aren't there, you can't catch them. If the deer aren't there, you can't shoot them. Okay, very simple. So, weights are going to be as important or more important than your color. All right, so the fall rate really has a lot to. Why would Mark Pack go to a 2-ounce weight on a big swim head or a swim bait? He's throwing a bottom bouncing swim bait and he puts 2-ounce lead head in front of it. Why? So it's judging, smashing, bouncing, deflecting, stirring the dirt, stirring the pot, making a bunch of noise, making a bunch of ruckus. I'm throwing the same swim bait on a 1/2 ounce because I'm worried about getting hung up and I don't catch anything. Big difference in presentation. Okay, so those weights are going to have a lot to do with your fall rate, the depth that you're fishing. Okay, more importantly, you always ask yourself this, sometimes with plastic specifically, what are you feeling? The sensitivity factor. If you're feeling disconnected, like throwing a wacky worm, man, there's a point where you just really feel disconnected. You almost got to like search for where is it? Where is it? Where is the bait? It's so light, you don't feel it. And that's okay. There's a time for that. That would be a real lightweight, disconnected, letting it free fall around the edges of grass. But when you want contact and you're feeling a worm, for example, a Texas rig worm, you're fishing a Texas rig worm offshore in brush piles and you can't feel your worm, increase your weight. It's not going to hurt. It's going to help you feel it. It's going to have more contact with what it's going through, and that's going to make you get more bites, okay? So I wanted to add that. Weight sometimes really can make a difference. The fall rate specifically can make a huge difference. Crashing and bashing through the bottom, through the wood, can really make those fish react. And that's a secret in those creek swings right now, too. A little heavier. Crash and bash. You might get bit by a big one. All right? Appreciate you guys watching. David, thank you for that question. I'm going to try more in the future to answer more of your questions. So if some of you have ideas, topics, or things you want answered, please put them in below. Give me the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Man, I got a lot of subscribers. I got a lot of watchers that aren't subscribed. If that's you, man, just take a second to hit the subscribe button, please. I am sharing my guts with you. I'm sharing the good stuff. Subscribe, please. It means a lot. Thanks for watching. I'm Michael McFarland, the Lake Fork Guide.